Hello, everyone. Welcome to the MedDwise podcast, where we engage with inspiring leaders across medtech and diagnostic industries, understand their perspectives and insights that shape the future of healthcare in India. Today, we have with us Mr. V. Venkatraman, who hails from the southern city of Coimbatore and has climbed the corporate ladder with companies such as J&J, Philips, GE Healthcare, and now with Hologic as the director for India and South Asia. We'll understand from him his perspectives about the Indian medtech space as well as his plans and thoughts for the expansion of medtech industry in India. Welcome to the podcast, Venkat. Pleasure
Thank
to
you.
have you here today.
Thank you, Sangeet. I'm really happy to be part of this whole initiative where you are getting leaders from the medtech space
That's right.
to interact through a virtual medium with various people out there, and glad to be contributing my 2 cents to this. Yeah.
Wonderful. That's what we do in MedDwise, where we try to bring together the professionals and other stakeholders of the entire medtech community.
Right.
When I say medtech, diagnostics, imaging, and all the allied niche segments, so that we together collaborate and take the industry to the greater heights,
Right.
uh, to become the global powerhouse. That's the aim of MedDwise. Great. So to start with, tell us something about your journey. We know you're from Coimbatore, and then you were raised in another town called Tirunelveli. Went on to become a mechanical engineer at BITS Pilani. Did your MBA at ISB. So it's a great to know about you, Venkat, and also to know about your professional journey. But if you can, summarize all of them.
Yeah. As you mentioned, my entire upbringing and schooling was done in a small town called Tirunelveli, which is one of the sort of key hubs in southern part of India, and that has always been a huge factor in my approach to any experience or any problem that I faced in my journey so far, and that because it keeps me grounded to be reminded of where we come from and the connect to the roots. So
Right.
that's one major part of my background, which I consider a very important factor. So as you mentioned, I have been quite blessed to have got the opportunity to work in some of the biggest and most diverse organizations,
Right.
like Johnson & Johnson, GE Healthcare, Philips Healthcare, and now with Hologic. And I have had the opportunity to handle various roles during my journey of more than almost 2.5 decades now in the healthcare space. And it's been a very rewarding journey, I must say, mainly because I have had a ringside view of working first in the med devices space,
Right.
and then transitioning to the medical equipment space,
Right.
largely from a commercial side of things. I've handled sales, marketing, product management, and various other responsibilities during my journey over the last 2.5 decades. And I have worked in pretty much all geographies in South Asia, of course, all parts of India. I have been based in Kerala, Hyderabad, Chennai, Bombay, Calcutta. I have not lived in Delhi, but I've worked extensively in
Right.
various parts of North. And of course, I've worked in Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Nepal, and Bhutan as well. And during this journey, I've also had the opportunity to work on specific projects and initiatives in Southeast Asia as well.
Wonderful.
And have had the opportunity, obviously, with the advantage of having worked in multinationals corporations, you also get the opportunity to collaborate with various people from other geographies like US and Europe. And yeah, so it's been a very interesting and very, uh, I would say, demanding journey as well. It's not been it's not been a bed of roses all through, but it's been a very very I would say I would not trade this for anything else. Yeah. Mm.
Wonderful. So actually, you started off as someone into industrial products, not into
Yes.
healthcare, and then later moved into healthcare.
Yeah, yeah.
And within the healthcare also, as you said, you have had a lot of cross-industry exposure.
Right.
So can you tell us your key learnings that you have acquired over all these different roles?
Right. So yes. So it was a very interesting journey that I had. Initially, I after my engineering, which fortunately or unfortunately, I look at it as a fortunate development. I graduated. My engineering journey ended in 2002 when I graduated, and that was the time when job market was actually not doing so great. I did have an opportunity to get into the IT sector, like pretty much, this was the time when .com bust was happening and there was a market crash. This was immediately after 9/11 as well.
Yeah.
And, the job market was, it was in a very bad shape to say the least. I did have an opportunity to get into the IT services space, but because of the macroeconomic factors, the whole thing got derailed. So, the way I looked at it, I had an option to get into an industrial role, which involved working on the shop floor.
Right.
Um, and I did get an opportunity. I started off as an engineer, graduate engineering trainee with a company called Atlas Copco, and which manufactures heavy, industrial equipment.
Right.
So I got in there as a graduate engineering trainee, got on the shop floor, but then I realized that life on the shop floor was not something which I was cut out for. And fortunately, there was an opportunity to try out a role in sales at that point of time.
Right.
I knew nothing about sales, but I did have the fortune of being coached and mentored by some of the great, people I have, had the fortune of working with along my professional journey. And that's how the whole journey in sales started. And of course, I had the opportunity to then get exposed to marketing, product management, and product launches, go-to-market strategies, all that. But the so-called what you call in Tamil as Playasri was in sales.
Yeah.
And to answer your question about learnings, one of the things which I've always believed strongly is that mentorship is very important.
Wonderful.
And that's something which has really helped me sort of recalibrate my assumptions. I've always benefited from reaching out to some really good minds in the industry. I've had the fortune of being blessed with some people who I call as mentors who are either from the industry or from a completely different background altogether.
Super.
But they have the maturity and the experience to be able to guide me when I need their inputs. So that's something which has always helped me, and I think that is something which people should actively look out for mentors, and you should not wait for a structured program from your company or somebody to tell you to do that. So that benefits a lot. This is not about networking. This is not about engaging with somebody for a specific outcome. This is a very generic and a more informal way of gathering from the experience of somebody else.
Yeah.
Right. That's very important. So that's one thing which has really helped. And that to answer your question, yeah.
I'm a big believer of mentorship, Venkat. Of course, whomsoever I meet as people who are senior to me,
Right.
more wiser, I tend to tell them, please be my mentor.
Right.
And or I treat them as my mentor.
Right.
Sometimes you need not have to tell them, but then in practice, I make them my mentors.
Right.
Many of the young people have this question in their mind. They too want mentors, but they don't know how to get the mentors.
Right.
Think about thousands of young professionals out there. Many of them are smart, but then I think one of the key raw material for success is having a good mentor.
Absolutely.
Not one, but many, in fact. But they don't know how to get mentors. I mean, just to make a suggestion here for the young people, actively reach out to people senior to them. For example, Venkat has been in the industry for over 2.5 decades. Somebody has to ask Venkat, can you mentor me? I'm sure he will say yes. But if you don't ask him, how can he reach you? All right. No, Venkat is just an example. There are many more people, hundreds of accomplished professionals in the industry who are willing to mentor the youngsters, if only the youngsters reach out to them.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, so this is something which is close to my heart. So you brought up this topic, and therefore I'm elaborating on this.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So glad that you spoke about this.
There are many of the educational, the companies that youngsters work in, they might have some sort of a mentorship program. Maybe not.
Yeah.
But what I'm seeing more frequently is that the educational institutions that people are a part of, I'm increasingly seeing them initiating mentorship programs so that people who are finishing their graduation or post-graduation do get an opportunity to interact with people from the specific industry that they are interested in.
Yeah.
And this is something which is which is admirable. I hope there are more, I would say, neutral forums. Like if there is a college or a education institution which is doing this, they're obviously going to try and reach out to their alumni, right?
Yeah.
Now, if there were a neutral body which could facilitate this kind of an interaction.
Yeah.
Probably there is already, I'm not aware maybe.
Yeah.
So which will be a beautiful forum for people to pick and choose who they would want to interact with. That would be a great way to start actually.
So one of the initiatives of MedDwise also is to create a platform for the younger ones to reach out to the mentors. And I still have at least about 3 to 4 mentors.
Right.
At least 2 of them help me on a very regular basis, and another 1 or 2 where I reach out to them when I need. So it's great. Let's come to your Hologic role. Hologic has a great reputation globally as a women's health-oriented organization, as well as strong player in the diagnostics area.
Right.
So what are the plans of Hologic over the next 5 years for India?
Got it. So just to give a brief overview for the purpose of this conversation, Hologic, as you are aware, is largely present in 3 major verticals, I would say. The breast and skeletal health solution space. Then we have the diagnostic solution space, and we have the gynecology surgical solution space. Now, when it comes to the breast and skeletal health solution space, uh, uh, from an India perspective, from a South Asia perspective, uh, we have a pretty strong presence in this geography already. Um, we have, a clearly laid out plan in terms of what we want to focus on over the next 5 years. And we have the necessary partnerships and the necessary resources uh, largely in place. And the idea is to expand our presence both from a geographic point of view as well as from a product point of view. When I say product point of view, we want to make our entire portfolio of products available in the market to the customers and to the end patients.
Wonderful.
So, I'll go into a more of a detailed, elaborate explanation here. From a breast cancer treatment point of view, India is definitely struggling right now, mainly because detection of breast cancer in India is quite late. This can be attributed to lack of awareness about the necessity to screen regularly, lack of necessary and relevant infrastructure, and of course that leads to the problem of accessibility of patients to the relevant healthcare, and affordability is obviously a factor when it comes to Indian healthcare scenario. Now, our aim is to act on all these aspects, in terms of awareness, in terms of accessibility and affordability. We want to make sure that the breast cancer scenario in India is transformed from where it is today. We want to do this by educating both the patient as well as the clinician community
Right.
on the necessity to screen regularly.
Right.
On paper, we do have guidelines clearly mentioning how screening needs to happen, how frequently it needs to happen, but it is not enforced in any way in India. Despite breast cancer being I think among women, it is the highest, diagnosed cancer, and we have a very high mortality rate. Um, Probably, close to 90,000 women die every year, which is, alarming and, to be frank, unacceptable, figure, because of the fact that breast cancer is one where, if diagnosed early, the prognosis is far, better compared to other cancers.
Right.
And the quality of life can be improved drastically if you detect early.
Right.
If you have a woman who is diagnosed with cancer at stage 1 or stage 2, you can very well look at a breast conservation strategy to be adopted. Whereas the later you detect, the probability of losing a breast goes higher, right? And the moment you're talking about removing a breast or both breasts, the quality of life suffers drastically. It's unacceptable in our scenario. So that's the reason why we want to make an impact in terms of driving awareness, accessibility, and affordability, and making an impact on affordability as well. And we are working with the relevant stakeholders, like with the healthcare providers, with the various lawmakers as well, to influence the policy around screening, etc. So that's what we are looking at more from a organization standpoint. We want to make sure that we have a scenario where India breast cancer space is transformed to a stage where um, every woman in the target age group is aware of the necessity to undergo screening,
Yeah.
and they have access to a good technology. And the gold standard when it comes to breast cancer screening is a mammography, digital mammography device. So they should have access to a good digital mammography device. So that's the ideal scenario that we want to strive towards. That's what our utopia is. Um, Coming to the diagnostic solutions business, now we have a host of solutions. You are very well familiar with the. You are yourself a stalwart in this space. We have a host of solutions. Um, Cervical cancer is one area of focus. For the uninitiated, Hologic is a company that works specifically in the women's health space. They are experts who have a very clear focus that every product or solution that they offer will cater to improving women's health, and all products which are not catering to this larger objective are usually removed out of the portfolio. So that's the way we operate globally, and which is a very that's one of the things which has always impressed me about Hologic as a company. Coming back to the diagnostic space, we have cervical cancer as one of the focus areas. We also have a host of other solutions dedicated towards diagnosing HIV,
Right.
sexually transmitted infections, and largely divided between liquid-based cytology solutions and molecular diagnostic solutions.
Right.
So I don't want to get too technical, but
Yeah.
the overall objective here is to again drive more screening and therefore early detection. That is the main thing that we are striving towards. For instance, cervical cancer again is probably the second largest cancer after breast cancer in among women in India, and as a cause of death as well. And that again is one cancer which can actually be prevented, as you would agree, right? So the only cancer which can be prevented, and that's why screening is all the more important. And vaccination is something which the government is talking about. Vaccination for HPV is something the government is talking about, but that needs to be combined with a very robust screening program, which is currently non-existent in India. Existent on paper, but not exactly
In practice,
in practice. We have a huge. I think the current correct figure is anywhere between 250 to 300 million women in the target age group who need to be screened, right? And we are probably screening less than 10% of it, which again is using methodologies like visual inspection and conventional pap smear. So not exactly the best in terms of screening methodologies, but the bigger problem is that we need to screen a much larger population of women, and the second aspect is bringing in the technology or the solutions which are more specific, more sensitive, and that's something which again, from a larger organization perspective, we are striving to change the picture around that. We are working with the relevant stakeholders to drive more screening and trying to make the best in class technology and solutions available to the patients so that they can benefit from that and get detected early.
Wonderful.
So so largely from a 5-year standpoint, we as a company in India and rest of the other countries in South Asia want to be treated as a partner to the hospitals and the governments
Right.
as one of the one of the key partners when it comes to addressing problems in the women's health space.
Very true.
This very in this ranges from breast cancer, cervical cancer, and we are in the process of launching our gynecology surgical solutions as well.
Right.
This specifically caters to addressing the problem of abnormal uterine bleeding, which is a huge problem that women face, the current methodology of treating that is remove the uterus. That seems to be the most prevalent method. If you have an issue of abnormal uterine bleeding due to polyps or fibroids or could be something else, the most prevalent method right now, prevalent method of treatment right now is hysterectomy, which is removal of the uterus, which is again totally not acceptable. So we want to be treated. The objective is for us to become a partner to the healthcare organizations like the hospitals, the diagnostic centers, and of course the clinicians, and the various stakeholders in the government space, like the lawmakers, the health secretaries, etc. We want to become a partner, especially in the space of women's health, and work with them to address the various problems pertaining to awareness, the access to technology, and making it as affordable as possible. So that's a larger view of what we are focusing on over the next few years. Yeah.
Super. So Venkat, you are one among the very few professionals who have, who is handling both verticals, diagnostics as well as imaging.
Right.
And now that you're saying you're going to come out with the surgical vertical as well. So, so what are the commonalities between both these diagnostics and imaging verticals, as well as what are the differences, if you can, pinpoint a few?
Ultimately, in the healthcare space, the common aspect is that you have a patient, you need to have a patient-centric approach. Whatever decision you take from an organization standpoint, from a strategic standpoint, has to be with the perspective of making it as patient-centric as possible.
Right.
So, regardless of whether it is the imaging the breast cancer solution space, or the diagnostic solution space, or the gynecology surgical space, we look at it from the patient's point of view first.
Right.
That has always been our approach, and that I think is something which, and I've had the fortune of working in companies which has always put patients first.
Wonderful.
And that kind of make things very clear in terms of how to approach a particular problem or a particular opportunity, right? And in terms of commonalities between these various verticals, the India opportunity is one thing which is quite common. So India opportunity is quite unique in the sense that you have a huge opportunity purely because of the population that we are talking about and the associated disease conditions that come with such a large population, right? So you have a huge opportunity, no doubt about it. India also comes with its own set of challenges.
Sure.
You challenge of access, challenge of reach, and of course the diversity which India presents with. I always tell my global counterparts that India is a country within which there are 29 countries that exist, right? So, and of course the Union Territory. So, um, you have a very diverse set of people with different cultures, different backgrounds, and different practices. So, you need to be aware and conscious of the opportunity it presents, while at the same time be conscious of the necessity to adapt
Yeah.
when it comes to India, because you need to have a specific approach for each of the opportunities that you come across. It can't be a one size fits all kind
Yeah.
of an approach. So that's one other common factor. And in terms of differences, um, the approach is different. That is because of the fact that in one vertical it's more of a capital intensive business, whereas in the other you are talking more about consumables. In the diagnostic space, you're talking about consumables, where you are, pushing for more screening to be done.
Yeah.
Right. And consumables. So the business, from a business standpoint, it's a completely different approach.
Right.
A capital equipment investment has a longer sort of a gestation cycle in terms of the decision making, whereas the consumables business is more of a engagement that is more continuous, because of the fact that they are continuously interacting with you to fine tune their own workflow, their own efficiencies, etc. Right? So, and the surgical business which we are in the process of launching is a completely different ball game altogether, because you have to spend time with the doctors, the clinicians, probably in the OT, and create awareness, which is all common. But when it comes to the differences, it's more about surgical intervention to address a particular problem. So that's a different ball game altogether. So the approach that we need to have in each of those businesses, and therefore the partnerships that we have, and the various various strategies that we adopt will be completely different. Yeah.
So, what's your take on professionals wanting to move from diagnostics to imaging and back? Is it a good career move? Would that help them? Just a quick
Absolutely. If somebody gets the opportunity to
cross learn.
get move from one into healthcare is huge.
Yeah.
Right? Healthcare industry is huge, and exposure to as many aspects of the business of the industry is definitely going to help. Specialization is always good, but it gives the advantage of looking at problems from different perspectives.
Yeah.
I have always been a strong believer in reaching out to people who would not necessarily agree with me. I intentionally reach out to them to get their perspective, because they will have a different opinion,
Yeah.
which will not be the most comfortable to hear, but they will always come with a different perspective,
Yeah.
and that helps. So when you yourself get yourself in a position of exposing to various aspects or various facets of the industry, then it gives you that additional advantage over others. So definitely yes, youngsters should look at gaining experience in different industries within the healthcare space.
True.
Yeah.
All right, Venkat. So now let's talk about the Make in India initiatives, by the government of India. So how does Hologic see this as an opportunity? And what are your plans for local value creation, if at all you have any? If you can tell us something about that.
Yeah, we do have a long-term view on this. The government has done some wonderful work in terms of launching production-linked incentives,
Yeah.
schemes for encouraging multinationals to set up local, presence here. Um, from a Hologic standpoint, yes, we do intend to be present in this geography and have take advantage of the specific incentives being provided by the central as well as a lot of the state governments. We are working on creating or identifying the ecosystem that is required to set up this whole infrastructure for us to be able to achieve that objective. It is, as I said, a long-term project. We are looking at it from a 5-year horizon, and we are also assessing which are the products or the solutions that will be most relevant for this kind of an approach.
Right.
And we hope to be initiating actions on the ground towards that objective in the next 12 to 24 months. So, but yeah, we are still, it's work in progress. But I do believe that India has huge potential to
Right.
transform into a manufacturing hub for medtech, devices and equipments, and government is definitely taking the right steps in that direction. Yeah.
Wonderful. Good to know that you are seriously, looking into local value creation. And tell me something about this, that a lot of global manufacturing and R&D players want to enter India. What are those biggest enablers that they find here, as well as hurdles that they find here as they try to deepen their manufacturing facilities as well as R&D facilities in India?
So the biggest enablers are obviously the fact that, like I mentioned, the government is incentivizing a lot of the MNCs to set up shop here. That's definitely a very attractive proposition. One additional big advantage is the presence of a skilled workforce. There are a lot of talented individuals who are available in every space that an MNC would want to, build their capability on. So that's something which is definitely helpful. And hurdles, if you're looking at it from a, specifically from a Make in India manufacturing point of view, the from a healthcare perspective, the ecosystem required for manufacturing is something which is still evolving, I would say, in India. India is, for example, if I were to compare it with automotive industry, India is far more evolved
Right.
in terms of the whole ecosystem available for manufacturing, right?
Yeah.
That's why you see pretty much every single international manufacturer wanting to set up shop in India, not just because of the market opportunity,
Yeah.
right? Whereas it is restricted to pockets or certain specific verticals or products in the healthcare space. That's mainly because the ecosystem needs to evolve to be able to accommodate end-to-end manufacturing. Otherwise, it just becomes a sort of a assembling in India rather than manufacturing in India, right?
Yeah.
So that's something which I think is changing, definitely changing. A lot of, especially in the last few years after COVID, it is significantly transformed for good.
Yeah.
And I hope that even a complex product like an MRI
Yeah.
is soon completely manufactured in India. I'm sure it will be,
Yeah.
and it's just a matter of time.
Yeah.
So that's currently, to answer your question, that is one of the, I would say, roadblocks as of now. But I'm positive that it will soon evolve to the level that we need.
Yeah. You spoke about women's health and how Hologic is very much committed to improving the patient outcomes of
Right.
women in general. So, because this is very critical, especially from India standpoint,
Right.
and often under addressed. So, what are those specific initiatives that Hologic is doing within India to close these glaring gaps?
Right.
If at all you can throw light on one or two specific things.
Superb. So, some of the key initiatives that we are working on is to work is around, as I mentioned earlier, awareness and screening. So, for instance, we are working with state governments to build their infrastructure. Let me talk about one of the specific initiatives that we are working on with respect to breast cancer.
Right.
So we are working with one of the state governments to build the necessary infrastructure required for screening the women in a particular age group for breast cancer.
Yeah.
That is one aspect of it in terms of building the necessary infrastructure. The second aspect of it is that we are working with stakeholders in the government space, and setting up a whole screening program which includes enforcing the current guidelines that are already in place, and of course getting the message out to the relevant population segment that they need to get themselves screened,
Yeah.
and for that they need to go to these places. So this is something which we are constantly doing, and this is a specific initiative that we are working with a particular state. And in the process, we are also obviously working with the healthcare providers, hospitals, as well as the clinicians,
Yeah.
who help us, who help us communicate the message to the various other stakeholders. So it's like a multi-party approach towards addressing this problem, where we have the healthcare providers, who are the hospitals and the clinicians. We have the industry, we have the insurance folks as well, and we are working with the government. So where we are trying to come together to address this whole breast cancer problem, and then we start with a small pilot program in a particular small geography.
Right.
And we are talking about screening, say, 5,000 women or 10,000 women in that particular small district or jilla, and then we expand to cover a larger percentage of the population. So similarly, we are doing something along very similar lines, which you are also aware of, for cervical cancer, right? So this is something which, as I mentioned before, we strongly believe that making the infrastructure alone available is not going to solve the problem.
Yeah.
We need to approach it from the point of view of a partnership, partnering with the various stakeholders,
Right.
to drive more screening. We, as a company, we strongly believe that business will automatically flow if you'll do two things. One is look at it from a patient-centric view, number one. Second is look at addressing the larger problem of screening and treatment. Then automatically business will flow in. Yeah.
Now, just for the benefit of the viewers, Hologic is a global leader when it comes to mammography, and especially the digital mammography, that they are leaders in India as well. Similarly, when it comes to diagnostics, they have the liquid-based cytology. Again, global leaders in that, undisputed global leaders, as well as a molecular platform based on transcription-mediated amplification technology. Again, their proprietary technology on which assays such as HPV genotyping, the STIs, sexually transmitted infections, and the viruses such as HIV, hepatitis B, Hep C, and a few other assays can be performed. So So that's the spread of Hologic between the imaging as well as diagnostic verticals. Venkat, you spoke about screening.
Right.
I mean, this is very, very important. I would say SAP in diagnostics or healthcare is screening, awareness, and policy,
Absolutely.
right? So, how do you view this for the benefit of women in India?
It is something which is, it's not a luxury. It's not something nice to have. It is absolutely mandatory. Screening, uh, we, like I mentioned earlier, we have everything on paper, but we are not treating it with the importance and the urgency that is required as a country. I mean,
True.
we need to change that. That's why we are also pushing for discussions around these topics related to women's health and cancer, specifically around breast cancer and cervical cancer. Um, Awareness leading to screening and making the relevant infrastructure available for the screening to happen. That is something which is definitely need of the hour, and it has to, it cannot be done by the government alone. It cannot be done by the hospitals alone. It has to be a partnership where the hospitals, the governments, the clinicians, and the industry comes together and solves for this. Because, as you mentioned earlier, women in India are unnecessarily getting, the delayed diagnosis,
True.
and that is not just of impacting the cost of healthcare, but overall the society faces a much larger burden
Right.
when a woman in this particular age group gets impacted due to cancer.
True.
And that can be largely avoided if we screen more and detect early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Venkat, AI, data driven diagnostics, digitization, remote diagnostics. These are the buzzwords today.
Right.
And Hologic is one among the players who are in the forefront of these technological advancements.
Right.
So, in your experience, can you share something using that these latest technology that has transformed the healthcare, whether it's in India or South Asia or anywhere, if we can pick up some of those real life stories and put it across.
Beautiful, because this is one of the areas where I am very excited about.
Wow.
So we have an AI solution which is currently available for both breast cancer as well as cervical cancer. So let me talk about one of the projects that we are working on with a particular doctor in Tamil Nadu. We have recently launched an AI solution. It's called Genius AI Detection, which focuses on breast cancer. It basically helps. It's a beautiful clinical decision support tool. What it basically does is looks at a particular image, identifies regions of interest if there is a lesion or a calcification. It identifies regions of interest on the image and gives a particular score to the clinician who is who's going to diagnose that patient. And there are certain parameters related to that score. The higher the score, the greater the probability of it being malignant, etc. So technicalities aside, it helps improve accuracy, number one, and second aspect is it helps to improve the workflow of the whole setup, the clinic, right? Now, how is this being deployed in India? In this particular case, we want this to be the norm.
Right.
How it is being deployed is this particular doctor is establishing small screening clinics
Yeah.
in various parts of Tamil Nadu, predominantly in tier 2 and tier 3 cities, like
Right.
talking about Chengalpattu, Pondicherry, and Vellore.
Right.
So these kind of cities, right? Now the idea is to get patients to the clinic to get screened on a more regular basis.
Right.
However, it is not possible to find a good radiologist everywhere,
True.
and this particular doctor cannot be everywhere.
True.
So the idea is to use AI,
Yeah.
get the patients to walk in, do the necessary activities to spread awareness, marketing, whatever. Get the patients to walk in, do the screening,
Yeah.
use AI
Yeah.
as a tool to do the first round of screening. Then the doctor takes a look at the images. Using AI, it makes the process much more faster
Yeah.
and much more efficient. And this is one thing which we are doing as a study. The AI is something which in the breast cancer space it's a very recent product solution that we have launched just over a year.
Yeah.
And this is something which we are using as a case study,
Yeah.
where we want to use this model and kind of propagate this in various other parts of India and South Asia, mainly because India has an inherent problem of lack of skilled medical talent, radiologists. Similarly, we have an AI solution in the cervical cancer space as well. So that's something which we are yet to make it available in the market as such, but we are working towards it. Eventually, the idea is to use the AI solution available in the cervical cancer space to help pathologists and cytotechnologists become more efficient and more accurate.
Wonderful.
And of course, use this as a support tool to have to increase their ability to study more samples, right? Process more samples. So AI is a big part of what we are doing over the next few years, and we see AI making a huge impact in a country like India and South Asia as well.
Right.
Yeah.
So, what changes would you like to see in India's medtech ecosystem over the next decade or so, in terms of the regulatory framework,
Right.
Innovation, and the talent?
So, great question. Regulatory, like I mentioned, when I mentioned about the whole Make in India piece, about the ecosystem still evolving, regulatory is one big piece there. The regulatory process needs to be simplified to a much greater extent. It needs to become, more seamless and more efficient, in terms of the timelines and also in terms of the whole process. That's something which is definitely required. I am sure recently Government of India has published sort of a white paper on how they intend to improve the whole registration process. CDSU has published a white paper on how they intend to improve, and they've asked for industry inputs as well.
Wonderful.
So, which is a brilliant step, the step in the right direction. I am looking forward to the whole process being simplified. And from a talent standpoint, the industry needs to do more in terms of engaging with the educational institutions. There should be, courses where industry can partner with the educational institutions and specifically establish a pipeline of talent for the industry, because it's not just about commercial, right? Right now, so many healthcare companies are setting up global capability centers in India, and they are doing R&D for the world out of India.
Yeah.
So there is a huge demand for STEM-based talent
Yeah.
to contribute in various areas, like it could be product development or various other aspects, quality, regulatory. So it's mandatory for the industry also to work with the local ecosystem to create that pipeline of talent.
Yeah.
And of course, the government and the private parties, the educational, those involved in the education also need to specifically focus on creating more opportunities for students to look at healthcare as a viable stream from a career standpoint. Right now, that is still evolving. So yeah, so these are changes which I would like to see.
And in the area of innovation?
Innovation, see, India is something like I mentioned, you need to have an India specific approach. You can't have a, sort of a one size fits all approach for a country like India. There is a huge necessity to innovate with the objective of uh, catering to a larger base of population, right? So what I mean is that you currently have the products available, but it might not be affordable or it might not be accessible to the larger patient group.
Yeah.
So the way the Indian healthcare, be it the indigenous manufacturers or the MNCs, they need to have a market appropriate approach.
Yeah.
So that is something which I've always strongly been advocating, regardless of the company that I've been a part of. The market appropriate approach is something which is very relevant.
Yeah.
You might have the best product in the world, but if it is not relevant to the market that you're operating in, it's of no use, right?
Yeah.
So that is where innovation is needed, not just in terms of the product, but also in terms of how you approach the market, how you connect with each of the stakeholders, providers or the patient or the insurance companies or the government. You need to have that innovative mindset in terms of approaching and tweaking your approach to be able to make the maximum impact on the patients. So that is a mandatory thing for any company to be able to make an impact in India. Yeah.
So we call it frugal innovation.
Frugal innovation, yeah.
Wonderful. So what are the advices that you can give to youngsters who wish to join the medtech space, or who have just about entered the medtech space?
Right. So educate yourself, obviously from a technical standpoint. Be aware of the current trends in the market, in the industry, both market as well as industry. One very important aspect of healthcare, which is probably not as relevant in other industries, is the regulatory aspect of it. So my 2 cents would to anybody who is starting out in the industry or looking to get into this industry is be aware of the trends in the market as well as in the in the healthcare industry, both from a regulatory standpoint, technological standpoint, and also macroeconomic commercial standpoint. Let me elaborate a little bit on this. The regulatory aspect of the healthcare industry is one space which is very rapidly evolving. Like I mentioned, the Indian regulatory space is quite complicated now, but the government is looking to streamline that. So there is opportunity there for people who are willing to invest the time to educate themselves about it, and they can obviously advise companies or even the government on that, right? From a market standpoint, there is a lot of activity happening in terms of investments flowing in, uh, consolidation happening. A lot of hospitals are getting acquired by larger hospitals, or they are, being acquired by PE firms. So be aware of the trends in the market space,
Yeah.
and also about the technological trends in the market in terms of how the industry is evolving,
Yeah.
how AI is playing a role,
Yeah.
or like we mentioned, what are the specific steps being taken by individual companies to enhance their presence in India.
Yeah.
So be aware of what is happening in the overall healthcare space, and equip yourself to specifically, tap into any opportunity that you are interested in. Yeah.
My final question to you, Venkat.
Yes.
Okay. Outside of the professional commitments that you have,
Right.
what keeps you motivated at a personal level?
Okay. So there are multiple things that I do.
I know. I know some of them.
Yeah, you know some of them, yeah. So probably one thing which you don't know is I am a complete movie buff. So
Wonderful. Great.
I am, like, I've always been into movies right from a very young age. I watch a lot of movies.
Which across all languages?
Across all languages, across the world, and across all genres.
Wow.
So I am what is known as what you can call as a cinephile. I even have a group of friends with whom I discuss movies regularly.
Wow.
So we like analyze it threadbare, and we are quite big nuts that way. Um, I do go on treks regularly. I've
That
done,
part I know.
yeah. I do trek on a very regular basis. I try to do at least two Himalayan treks in a year,
Yeah.
and of course the local treks we keep going whenever I get an opportunity. I love bike riding, so that's something which I do whenever I get the time. I don't get time as much as I would like to, but I do have a nice bike. I've always owned bikes for the last, I don't know, more than 20 years, I guess. But the bikes I own have changed, and currently I have two bikes.
Yeah.
One is an old 1967 original Czechoslovakian Java, and that's a vintage bike that I don't take out on long rides. But yeah, that's one thing which I have, and I also recently bought a BSA Gold Star 650. It's a 650cc single engine, single cylinder bike, and I take it out on long rides whenever I get the chance. Yeah, so these are things which I do when time permits, and actually I do take time out specifically for these. And yeah, so, and of course I try to do these activities with my family, especially the trekking part, so that we spend time together while doing something which I enjoy. So I have got them also to start liking these activities. So yeah.
So where are you going next week?
I told you, yeah. So I'm off next week to Nepal for the Annapurna base camp trek.
Wow. How many days is that?
This is going to be, I'm going to be trekking for 6 days. We are taking a slightly longer route compared to the regular one. So we'll be trekking for 6 days and covering about 85 kilometers for those 6 days.
Superb. Great. We had a great conversation, Venkat, and thank you for coming over. And viewers, I hope you enjoyed the podcast. And there were quite a lot of learnings which Venkat pointed out across screening, women's health, the technology, and towards the end, the talent and the advices that he what he gave to the younger talent that's coming into the industry. Just wanted to add one or two thoughts,
Yeah.
Venkat. I would like to tell all of you that medtech industry is a great industry, growing, flourishing, robust, and and this is a place where a young talent needs to come.
Yeah. Agreed.
If you want to be into sales and marketing, for example, unlike many other industries where there are 6 7 levels or ranks, you join at a bottom and then you will take 20 years to reach somewhere. Whereas in the medtech industry, diagnostic industry, you can reach a national position in about 10 years max if you are smart enough in sales and marketing. Let's say you are into science and technology background, engineering, or MSc or PhD, and you want to do some research or innovative things. Again, there are a lot of things which Venkat also spoke about in terms of AI driven and data driven, and a lot of technological advancements that's happening within the medtech and diagnostic space. Again, therefore, this is the right space for you. Let's say you want to get into supply chain management or something like that. Again, cold chain logistics and a lot of newer technologies coming into as an allied facilitating activity of
Correct. Yeah.
medtech space. And finally, if you want to be an entrepreneur, again, medtech is the place to be in. Looking at the interest that the large, PE firms are showing into the medtech, you know that this is the industry to be in. With that, I close today's podcast. Please comment into the comment box, and please let us know how we can improve upon our podcast. And if you wish to reach out to Venkat, we'll also, with his consent, share his LinkedIn profile. You can reach out to him
Absolutely.
and ask him to be your mentor.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks
you
for
so
having
much.
me. Thanks for having me, Sangeet.